Hey, good morning, everyone. It's August 26th, Wednesday morning, about 9 a.m. This is a summary of the first part of our owners meeting that did not work over YouTube. Most of you know who attended online. We were having audio problems on YouTube, and we switched over to Zoom. So this is just a summary of the things that happened during the meeting for those that were there, and we'll try and answer some questions along the way. As I finish up this first summary, we'll add to it the recording from Zoom. Apologize again about the audio problems. We won't use YouTube in the future. We'll switch things over to Zoom, which seems to be more reliable. Okay, so for our annual meeting, the first thing that we did is we determined there was a quorum. The board members were present. Grant Hodgson was excused. He was had some prior commitments, so he was not there. But we did determine a quorum. We passed around a roster to those who were in attendance at the Kaysville Library. We introduced our board members who were present. And then the next step was to approve the minutes of our 2025 August meeting. The motion was made to approve the minutes and seconded, and the motion carried by all those who were present. So those 2025 minutes, again, are available on our Facebook page and also, I believe, on our website. The minutes for this meeting, or the slide deck, will also be made available on the Facebook page and also through the website. We'll try and forward those to folks as well. We went over voting eligibility before we went into voting. Voting is for owners who are current on all dues and all assessments, including the special assessment. The association in our bylaws says that anyone who's not current loses their right to vote, and the board gets to vote for those things. We talked about delinquency and those who had not paid their special assessment and how much that special assessment has risen to. And then we went on to board elections. We had 2 board members who were up for re-election. No one else was nominated to take their place, so they were unanimously approved by those in attendance, and those 2 people were Grant Hodgson and David Pendergast. There's a little bit of a summary from each of them. I believe this is from the last time we had elections 2 years ago for those two seats. Again, there were no nominations from the floor, so those things had those motions carried very quickly. Yeah. So to just remind everybody about where we have been, the resort shut down in August of 2024 after a couple of our partners elected to not pay any more assessments or dues. The owners elected to shut down the resort and preserve whatever capital we can, and then ultimately we decided to pursue a sale of the resort. As most of you know from prior meetings, the resort actually co-owned a property to the north of us that was affectionately called the Big Dig. Ultimately, the Big Dig and the resort were sold to Powder Mountain. The Big Dig sale closed last year, and that gave us enough money to fund what we think is enough money to fund the wind down of our resort. The goal of the association of the presidents and of all of our members has been to minimize risk and maximize profit. We have been continuing to pay the necessary items, including insurance and water and all those other items that come through, including snow plowing. We have to keep our resort area plowed in order to keep our insurance in place and in order to not get fined by Weber County and the municipality and city governments and things like that. We continue to pay for a few other items, including a truck to do the snow plowing with, and a few other odds and ends items, including an internet contract we were unable to cancel. So we have blazing fast internet in the clubhouse that no one is using, but we still have that contract that we continue to have to pay for. Since our last meeting, our last annual meeting, the Big Dig had closed. We have scheduled the sale of the resort to Powder Mountain. That's supposed to take place by the end of March 2028. We are doing ongoing maintenance. We thank Gary and Kathy for their ongoing help in doing things. Kathy Hillstead is still taking calls from owner, and Gary has been helping us keep the pool going and just helping with general maintenance. And their family has been helping out with snow plowing on an hourly basis. We've made a great deal of progress on our title clearing efforts. We have many deed for equity agreements, and we are just starting to work on deed in lieu of foreclosure and the foreclosure process. We're going to go over that a little bit more as well. We have been taking care of some of the major title problems with All Year Paradise and Powder Mountain Properties, working with those companies. We'd previously received all the weeks from multi-resort ownership properties back into the association name. That means with those back in their name, there's more of a share for every owner who is current on the property now that those are in our name. We have been given clearance to do non-judicial foreclosures on the majority of our units. That represents a huge savings in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. We've been working with the title insurance company underwriter and legal counsel to clear timeshare units, and that work has been ongoing. This wasn't said in the meeting, but I'll say it now. So far we've paid the county recorder tens of thousands of dollars in just recording of deeds. We're up to about 4,800 deeds associated with our property. Each one of those deeds has been reviewed, and over the last year or two, hundreds of those deeds were prepared by the association to get the title work consolidated, and we're moving forward with that. We anticipate signing a letter of engagement with the attorney and delivering a retainer for them to immediately move forward on foreclosure proceedings, contacting those owners and hopefully getting deeds in lieu of foreclosures for those as well, but where we can't, foreclosure will start immediately. For the process for owners we haven't received your documents from, please contact us if you are current and have not turned in your deed for equity agreement with a quitclaim deed. We need that as soon as possible. We don't have time to wait on some of these things, so there are consequences for not turning in your deed. To get your account balance, you can always email the address on the screen. And for any inquiries, there's another email that will come up to PR Village Biz that you can talk to Dave at any time. Some of our statistics, we started out, these red numbers on the right are how we started out in August of 2024. We have 572 owners who are current. We've received 507 agreements, deed for equity agreements. We have 65 of those that are still pending. We still have around 367 delinquent owners. We have received 52 deed in lieu of foreclosure agreements from those owners, and the association has been deeded or already has title to 1,232 of our 1,664 units. There's a bit of a stats about our foreclosure process, and a reminder that we need to have deeds from every owner, all of our 1,664 weeks, in order to have clear title to move forward with the closing. A little bit of for those of you who are in arrears for the special assessment only, we have the balance of that coming up. If we can't get a deed in lieu of foreclosure from you, those balances will continue to increase, and also attorney's fees that will incur through the foreclosure process will be added to that balance. Foreclosure is underway, and again, it is a costly thing, but we have been negotiating with several attorney firms, and we have found one that will allow us to do a lot of the work, including the mailings and the noticings, to save our owners money and ultimately put more money back in each owner's pocket. That's the goal of having the board do so much of this work. Again, anyone who wants to deed back to the association, the only possible cost you might incur is to get a notary. If you live here in Utah along the Wasatch Front area especially, we will come to you and notarize the documents. All you would need is an ID for us to be able to do that. We don't know how much money everyone will receive when the resort sells, but that metric about what percentage each owner gets has already been worked out. We have the algorithm and the sheet worked out, so when we know the total net proceeds, we'll be able to cut checks to each owners. Here's our how to contact the owner association. Again, there are the numbers and things are there. You can get a hold of us at any time, and we're going to put these slides again up on our website. Little about season passes for those owners who are current. There's only a handful of you who elected to get or who wanted season passes last year who had already purchased season passes. For those, we have contacted Powder Mountain. We can refer you to the right party so that you can get your season passes for this year. Again, it was 1 year only, and you're only eligible for this upcoming season if you did not use passes next year and you had to sign up through our system the year prior. Anyway, that's our summary of the first 10 or 15 minutes of our association, and I'll append that to our Zoom recording that happened. Apologies about the audio on the Zoom recording. We got it going so fast. I did not click the option to have everyone muted, so in addition to admitting people to the meeting, I was trying to get microphones muted as we went. Again, thanks everyone. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for being so great to work with for us as a board, and we're doing our best to help you.
Right from it, all of us get nothing because that was really the only other option we saw. We're excited that we see an end to this coming. We're on it. And before we go around the room to the board, I'd like to have us stand for any questions so we make sure questions that we have online.
We'll take chat questions in the chat, everybody. We'll make sure we repeat any question we have for the folks online and the folks here.
Anyone that has questions about this, like I said, I feel like I talk more in this meeting once a year than I talk the rest of the year. It's just trying to just give this information dump in 30 minutes. So.
A question from the group from one of our volunteers says, are there still names to be researched on Dave's list? So yeah. Dave Hendrick asked a volunteer. Those are names of people who are in arrears. There definitely are names there that need to be researched. And for that group, we still have the Intellius service that is available.
And I wish I could name everybody that's done the work here. The people that have done them, Paul and Tony and the different people that have done so much on those things, it makes a huge difference in what we will all end up with in our pockets at the end. When you talk about the cost of foreclosures and every one of those that we were able to reach, we were looking at $10,000 a piece at that point. We're down from that number now, but really huge impact for us at the end of the day in what you and I'll see coming back. Any questions from this group? Like I said,
what's the accounting firm?
Accounting firm, it's Diana Loveridge. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the accounting firm, but I can get it for you. For my email, I'll get it.
A question for those online is, who is the accounting firm doing our taxes?
The accountant's name is Diana Loveridge, and it is something in Associates. Let me get there. Not only did I get gray hair, I lost my memories process somewhere along the lines. Schofield Tax Service out of Orem, Utah. And what we looked for was recommendations from people looking for someone who dealt with the 501c8 specifically, which is what we're in as our C3 and C8 as our nonprofit homeowner association. That was what we were trying to find, a tax service that had that expertise.
What did you say his last name was again?
The tax is Schofield Tax Service.
Diana Loveridge
is our
account. Yeah. Okay. More questions from here or from anybody online? One question that we get over and over again is, how much am I going to get for my week? We've had that from everybody. We don't know, but every day it looks a little better. How's that? And we don't think it will be nothing. We think it'll be something.
Everybody, I get that all the time. Everybody wants me to guess. I'm so afraid of being held to a guess. But for me personally, and for my family, anything was better than just getting slapped in the face because these guys
wanted our property.
You know, whatever the motive was with those two companies coming together and not paying, whether it was to try to take us over, we don't know what their motivation was, whether it was financial. Ultimately, it would have been a zero for me, so we're happy to get something and do the best we can. So.
For those who are on the Zoom call, again, if you can mute your microphones as you join, that would be very helpful. I try and mute them on my end, but there's just so many people online. The people in here in the library are just quiet. It's a little weird, to be honest with you.
I babbled enough to just put them into a trance.
I think that's how I feel usually. Yeah.
They fell asleep.
We're going, here's a question. Interest is being charged on those who don't pay the special assessment. Will interest be paid out for the refund of the special assessment for those who paid?
It won't.
It won't. No, because if we pay interest, it comes out of the bottom line for that everybody gets anyway. Right? Like it's a wash.
Yeah, everybody gets their portion.
Can we publish a list of the folks who have not cooperated?
I think,
And
I don't think you know, I don't want to see any vigilante justice type stuff, but yeah, we have these lists and the volunteers, anybody that wants to be on the volunteers, it's open to them. We also ask each of those people who are working as volunteers and others to sign an NDA.
we did.
We don't want to have somebody's personal information out there and then be sued for it and have us incur a bunch of liability.
Yeah, each of our volunteers has signed an NDA before they started the volunteer.
Yeah, we feel like these are still our friends, but come and join the volunteer because you may know some. Join the volunteer teams, take a look, make that connection. Every one that we get is a step forward.
Okay, more questions from the group?
So if there's no questions, I'll bring one more thing that we've tried to do up that we failed in. We have tried to get a management company to take the resort and open it for the amount that it costs us to be open every month. That 35,000 or so that it's costing us to be open. Come and run the resort, rent it out, do whatever you want with the resort. Ski season, we still have 2 ski seasons that potentially would be, we haven't been able to be successful with that. If any of you, excuse me, have a connection to someone who's in property management, there's a real opportunity here for someone to come in, operate the resort, even just in the winter months and make a profit. And even if they took it for us on a 6 months and we save $200,000, that's $200,000 that we didn't pay out that we're returning to owners at the end of the day. We've tried going to property, real estate professionals. We've been directed to a few people, but nothing has panned out. We're still working on those. But even if we could, like say, even if we could do it for a few months during ski season to open a building and have someone else pay all the bills and pay us what our costs are, that was what we were asking as a rental agreement.
Isn't there some flood damage that would have to be fixed before that happens?
Only in the clubhouse. There is no flood damage in the units. And in fact, we are trying to get probably announce a volunteer opportunity here in a little bit to go up and just clean the units again. We have the units up until probably the last 120 days. We get a lot of flies in there in the summer. And we have kept them so that if we did rent it, we felt like in 7 days we could be back open in every one of our 32 units would be rentable and ready to operate. Community center, no. But the units themselves, and we have people who come stay at the place. And if that occurred, we would probably take some steps to invest a small amount of money to make the pool viable.
It'd be just like COVID though, right? No, you can come, but you can't use the pool.
Yeah.
Sorry for flashing back to 2020.
I don't want to hear the I really don't want to hear. So we're open to any ideas. That's kind of the benefit of having people online. We've had a lot of good owners all over the United States that have come to us with ideas. We're still trying to do that because for us, a penny saved is one that we've returned back. We just haven't been able to get anybody to close on this, on that idea. We still, like say, have 2 very viable ski seasons. We all know what the rent is in Eden, so we have a price comparison for them. And with the size of our units being the 3 bedrooms and the 2 bedrooms, it's a viable rental opportunity. Where we can't see is if we have to start hiring employees and all that, we don't think the risk for us as an ownership organization to try and open, it doesn't pay. It just is too much liability, too much risk.
We've talked about having a cleanup party at the lodge in the fall when the weather is
cooler.
Where we go through and clean all the units, just make sure they're ready. You just go in and dust vacuum and sweep anything and check, do a general cleaning, and then
We're at the.
Or at the clubhouse as well, yeah.
at the clubhouse, we are in the process of destroying records and all that part. We have 35 years of records sitting there that we're making sure they're shredded and or buried so that there's no, again, our personal information, yours and mine, isn't in the landfill somewhere that'll be discovered by someone and used to open an Amazon account in your name. So we're being careful with that. But that's the process, is we're trying to go as we have time and money to get those things done. Go ahead, please.
How do you go about trying to find these 62 people? Are you just calling them on the phone and people are answering?
We have subscribed to the private detective website resources that attorneys and police use, and different people locate people. And
Sorry,
we have access to that for our
the
team.
question was, sorry, for the folks online, what are we doing to track down the people who need to sign things was the question.
The thing is, I'll bet you I get 2 phone calls every day.
Timeshare rescue phone calls?
People,
Mhm.
no people. Well, I would think they probably do what I do. I just hang up. I just, so.
Look,
And well, we've had 3 timeshares, so, I don't know who they're calling for, but they just start, but you can tell by the noise in the background that it's just a business where everybody's calling to.
yeah, when we're calling, we're making that phone call and person, hey, this is Dave Edwards. I'm one of your fellow owners of Powder Ridge. Yeah, a minute. So we get past that. But part of you're asking a great question there, because it's basically what you're saying is, why don't we know how to get a hold of these people that are current? And well,
Calling for me and.
yeah,
say,
yeah,
Hi, it's 60 there. I say, who's calling them?
yeah. We have a script that we use to make it.
You know that it's 60 and you know that it's the name that you've got or
Yeah.
something.
It's not that we're having people not answer us, is we're not getting the right numbers. And here's what we discovered, and here's what the real answer to your question is. We had people that have been paying their dues for 16, 17 years. They never updated their address from when they lived in this state. Then we've tracked them and they lived in that state. Now they're in Massachusetts and now they're somewhere else. And they just kept paying by credit card, but never updated their contact information for us, even though the management company has that in the portal for you to do. They didn't do it. So when we end our association with them and we're emailing and doing all those things, there are a number of people that just never respond. And that, we think that's what a lot of our foreclosure, once they couldn't use the resort because they were behind, they just never updated their contact. They just washed it away. We also have a significant number of people who passed away and trying to find errors. That's part of this process. And
That's really fun. Do you know how many obituaries we've read? Like I'm starting to write my own obituary, to be honest. Like that's something.
at one point he was writing mine. I was a little scared what was going to happen.
Here lies Dave Edwards,
Yeah.
great board president.
That's how we do it.
We had a question from here. You probably missed it because the sound wasn't working, so it's not your fault you didn't hear it. What happens if we get to closing and the title is not clear? And the answer to that is the buyer of the resort has a $2 million hold if we are not able to close on time. And that $2 million is meant to finish up the titling process for the resort. So
What that means is that it takes it out of our hands. We're trying to clear the titles. They hold back $2 million so they can use that money and their team to go get it done.
or
Yeah.
continue with our team. It's
They
up to
have the
them.
option to let us finish,
Yep.
but
Yeah. For
we
those,
we don't want to risk that $2 million.
we don't. We want that $2 million to go to every owner. It's not to be held up for who knows how long. For those of you who are wondering, Steve and I and our volunteer groups, we've been calling, texting, and emailing, and regular mailing. So we're trying to contact people in as many ways as possible, and we're about to start certified mail for the folks who are in arrears. That's just one of those things we have to do, is give them written notice of the lien, and then again, certified mail written notice of the default. So things are, you might say it's getting serious, I suppose, or more serious.
Yeah. We just, like I say, we don't want to foreclose, but that's where we are, and we're moving aggressively to get it done, to get that timeline, to protect that $2 million, to be able to complete the sale. And the money for the sale, although we're not going to disclose what the sale agreement dollars are tonight, the money is in escrow, all of it.
Yeah.
This isn't like someone's looking for financing. Every dollar that is to be paid to us when the sale completes is being held in escrow. There's no doubt that it'll fund. That was a real, to a banker, you understand, that's a huge commitment to us to be able to complete the sales.
Someone asked, why not just start the foreclosure, which get people to do something? We're starting that now. Law firm engaged today to do that. So the process, for those of you who are wondering, I know Dave went through this a little bit, but the process is we're sending them a deed in lieu of foreclosure agreement. Hopefully they'll sign that with a quitclaim deed. Also, there's all the legal things, a statement of account. Okay. Talking about the foreclosure process. Okay, that's a legally required document as well. A copy of the lien that will be recorded at the county. If they don't get back to us within a certain time frame, it'll be a very short time frame. And then as soon as we don't hear from them after whatever time we decide, it might be just a couple weeks, that notice of lien is recorded at the county and forwarded to the law firm to initiate the foreclosure and sign the notice of default. Once a notice of default is recorded in Utah, it's 120 days from the time of the recording of the default to the foreclosure. The last 30 days, stuff starts happening. Like we have to drive to the resort to post our own property of that notice. We post it at the county recorder's office. It appears in a newspaper of record 3 times for 3 consecutive weeks, about 20 days prior to the sale. It is an actual auction on the courthouse steps. So someone will be there conducting an auction on behalf of the association, a trustee sale. Yep. So that's kind of the process. And yeah, that's starting now. We're going to do these in groups of 50 or 100 until we get through them all. Yep.
Like I said, we've reached an agreement with the attorney today, and we'll sign and pay the first $50,000 retainer to them tomorrow to get moving. And that's been a long process to find, and we're excited to actually be moving forward. I guess, again, I would ask, has anybody got thoughts, any comments on things that we can do better, ideas? This is the time that we only get together once a year. I do get a lot of phone calls, mostly from people that are angry. But I do get a lot of calls from owners that say, did you think about this? And there's one particular owner that helped me find the accountant that we needed, who herself was a former IRS employee, who reached out and made that connection for us to the right person to help us find an accountant, because we were having difficulty getting anyone to do it. I think their difficulty was that we were closed, that we're not in business anymore moving forward. So it didn't represent an ongoing account to them. It wasn't a big cash thing, but we were grateful to an owner that when we reached out in one of our last town halls, we reached out like this and said, we needed a tax accountant. And lo and behold, an owner said, I used to work at the IRS. Let me reach out to some IRS people, and led me directly to an accountant that was willing to take us on and move forward. So when we're asking for help, it is really grateful when we can find those. The resources exist among the 500 of us that are current owners to get good ideas, good thoughts. I guess the final thing I wanted to do is take you back a little bit to who's doing our snow plowing, who's still answering phone calls from owners, and who is still keeping our pool from
for just a second
being a green monster. Gary and Kathy Hillstead. Gary Armstrong and Kathy Hillstead. Kathy continues to, when I'm in the middle of, I'm actually in an airplane on the runway in St. George, and we have a problem with the resort. Tucker was in Gooseberry, couldn't get hold of Janie, couldn't get hold of Gary. Can you go? Yeah, I'm on my way right now. I'm 10 minutes out. Up to the resort, takes care of our business, make sure that we're not in flood or fire. This was a fire alarm. right? When we had the lightning storms going through it, we're panicked. But that's been continuous. Gary puts in time to go up and keep our pool maintained enough that we don't have horrible odors, that we have to provide this resort in the shape it's in when we agreed to sell. That means, yes, they knew about the water damage, which, isn't that huge, but it's clean. We cleaned it all up, right? Even the second time, we cleaned it up. But we have to keep it in that shape. It requires that we keep water in the pools, engineering wise. So if you take all the water out, it will crack and break. You have to keep water in it. Gary goes up and maintains it. We pay him an hourly wage. A professional snow plowing company. Bids were $80,000 plus to do our snow plowing. Last year we were in under about 13,000, I believe, total for the year, because we are required to keep our roadways open for police and fire access and to keep our insurance. It's not like we can walk away from it. When we're talking about what are those monthly expenses, Gary and
Kathy's son.
one of Kathy's sons, who's a heavy equipment operator, are willing to do it on that part-time basis when we have snow to help us control costs. Kathy still taking calls from owners with questions about our resort. And we still look to her, even the attorneys looking to her for questions about something that happened years ago with easements on our property, the different things. Who would have thought that even after they've been gone from the resort for a couple of years, we just can't thank them enough. They're still critical to our success. And they still think about you as owners. And when I talked to Kathy the other day, have you heard from this owner? I just miss it. I haven't been able to talk to them. That's the kind of conversations we want to publicly thank them and recognize the effort to take care of us. And again, for this board, lots and lots of time that the board puts in. We're grateful to them. And I think with that, we would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Can I just, before we do that, thank you from an owner
Well,
for their community, what they have.
thank you. Appreciate that. I'm still looking for a motion to adjourn. Please. That's my favorite motion.
Sure.
And what's your name?
Elena.
There you go. And second, Bill, please.
Second. Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will, as this foreclosure process, we've kind of not had a town hall because there was literally nothing to tell you. We hadn't made any progress. In the last few weeks, we've had that. We delayed this meeting that normally occurs in May. We had delayed it to July because of past events to know where we're going. We delayed it again a month into August because we had substance to deal with tonight. As we get scheduling town halls and we start to move forward with foreclosures, we feel like we'll probably come back and try to do those at about a 60-day pace. There are going to be just a brief update because I don't want an owner to feel like he's left out of the information curve. Everything will be digital. It won't be anything on site. We'll try to keep the information flow going. And on the information flow side, Kathy Coco.
Thank you, Kathy.
Kathy Coco has continued to be corresponding with owners, keep our website moving, respond to questions from owners. We keep the email moving forward from you as a group of owners so we could focus on these issues. Kathy's just done an amazing job with our online presence and is one of the most incredibly organized people on the planet. Can't thank Kathy enough.
And she's not dumb enough to accept a position on the board, unfortunately. She's too smart.
Yeah, true. Like I say, there's just a few of the owners and people that we're really grateful to. I'm sure I'm missing people, but again, thank you, and we'll call it a night. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. I'll stay on the Zoom